Hey, everybody. Today's words to live by are for you sports fans and football fans, but it's probably good advice for everybody as well. So they are: I probably watched every single snap Aaron Rodgers ever took, but the biggest lesson I learned from him is how consistent you have to be, day in and day out. No excuses, no off days, just consistency, period. And those words were spoken by Jordan Love, the Green Bay Packers quarterback, about his time with Aaron Rodgers as sort of an understudy. And it was taken from an article in the Players Tribune. So that article is actually pretty easily found on the internet if you search for it. And it's really tough to come away from that article being anything but a fan of Jordan Love and his journey and the challenges he faced. And clearly, whether you're chasing a championship or chasing your personal goals, consistency is the quiet separator. Now, in Jordan Love's case, he's got immense talent, as do most NFL quarterbacks, right? But it's that consistency that separates. And so I like to say consistency beats talent when talent isn't consistent. That's the easiest way to sort of think about it. And so I think with this message, I think it resonates with quite a few people who have reached their personal goals or have been on a quest to achieve them. And for me, it started when I was 9, and I went on to my tennis journey that lasted about 14 years up until I was 22 or 23. And I can certainly relate to this no days off sort of mentality, because even when I wasn't practicing my craft, I was doing something that was adjacent to it, whether it's training or studying or reading or something that was still sort of geared in on what my vocation was at the time. But if you look at the course of my life with business and spending time in the corporate world, and then starting my own business, and then being an entrepreneur, and even things like this YouTube series, it's about consistency and it's about repetition and showing up every day. And so it's this quiet separator that nobody ever sees or pays attention to, especially in our society where it's the bright shiny objects that tend to get all the attention. But sort of in the shadows, you've got people who are talented and they're doing things consistently and sort of bridging that gap in a quiet way. And that's what I got from Jordan Love. Like, and if you think about football players, they have their regular season games 17 times a year, and not including playoffs and the Super Bowl, but call it 20, 21 times a year. They're really on the big stage in the bright lights. What happens the rest of the time, right? They are working hard, not making excuses, no off days. It's just consistency and repetition to perform and to reach their goals. And I think the quote by Jordan Love is something that a lot of people who follow the sport can sort of identify with, because when you are new to something, when you're joining an organization, whether it's a sports team or a business or a large company, when you're joining an organization, you see people who have come before you and had success before you. And you sort of look at them and say, well, what did it take to do that? What steps did they take? And clearly by this quote and the basis of the article, if you read it, is that he's looking at the consistency it took. It was the mentality. It was the non-stopness of purpose, and what that sort of bled into in terms of his practice habits, his diet, everything that it takes to be an elite competitor and an elite athlete. So I think, again, whether you're talking about the boardroom or being on stage as an entertainer or a musician or an athlete, it all applies. It's the consistency to become a master of your craft, and that is what that is what separates people who get to where they want to go and people who maybe fall a little bit short. Not in every case, but in most cases. So I hope you found some inspiration and some joy from this reflection. And if you did, please like and or subscribe. And I will see you very soon.